Hello, welcome to Kitchen Basics 101, where I teach you the bare bone basics as if you've never cooked a day in your life from the perspective of a mom. Been having a little fun with the Lipton Onion Soup because we discovered our dip recipe that we had forgotten about. And so I'm going to try it in the meatloaf, but I'm also going to change up a couple other things from the basic meatloaf that I've showed you just to show you some variations. One of those things that I always did when we lived in Philly was I always put pork in my meatloaf. I used to do veal, beef, pork in equal parts, like a third, but it's really hard to find veal here in Las Vegas. But I was able to find ground pork at Sprouts. So we're going to do 1 pound of ground beef and 1 pound of ground pork. To share with you guys, my hands are so weak, like my grip strength. I cannot pull this packaging open. Like, I hate vacuum seal packaging because it is just impossible to open. I mean, like, I just want you to give me like the regular pack, stab with a knife, and like peels away. Right? Can I have that with everything? Can I have that with pork? Can I have that with chicken? Ugh. Okay, rant over. I'm also a texture person, so I hate the texture of vacuum sealed meat. You know, I'm going to get the question, do you have to add the pork? Absolutely not. You could just do ground beef. You could do 1 pound. You could do 2 pounds. I would say with 1 pound, you probably need 1 egg. 2 pounds to put 1 packet. And then I'm like, oh, should I put 2 packets? But I'm just going to do 1 packet of the Lipton Onion Soup. And I know this comes in other varieties like beefy, onion, or other, I don't know. This is the only one I ever have had, so I haven't had the other ones, but we're going to experiment. Just a touch of salt and pepper, because I felt like last time I made meatloaf, just, you know, it needed a little salt and pepper. So I'm going to put just a little salt and pepper, not too much, because we're putting seasoned breadcrumbs and the Lipton soup, which both have salt. Use these 4C seasoned breadcrumbs. This is Italian seasoning. So can you use plain breadcrumbs? Of course, absolutely, especially with that Lipton onion soup mix in there. I'm just going to do maybe like, I don't know, 1/4 cup, I guess. Not too much, nothing too crazy. Maybe 1/2 cup. I've heard some people also use crackers, and I think that would be fun and that would be interesting. You could definitely do that. Soft, delicious sourdough bread. It's the end. I always grew up breaking up little bits of bread into my meatloaf. You don't have to do it. My meatloaf doesn't come out greasy, and some viewers here think this might be the reason why. I don't know. This is just how I was taught to make meatloaf. But meatloaf, just like chili and just like marinara, like, it's so forgiving, right? I mean, you could put a lot of variations of things in here and it's still going to be totally delicious. Could you give it a blitz in the food processor? Sure. Could you just use plain breadcrumbs? Sure. Whatever makes you happy. I always just did some seasoned breadcrumbs and then tore up some bread. I usually use like 2 or 3 pieces of regular bread. This was like a really big piece of sourdough, so I'm just going to use the 1 piece. As a departure from my regular meatloaf, I am going to do a little like coating on the top of this. But I am going to put a little bit of ketchup in. Things I think you could add here, if you like it to have like a little kick, you could put a little Worcestershire. I'm just going to do about like, you could put some fresh garlic or some garlic powder in here. I love garlic, but I don't need indigestion with every meal. So I'm going to skip the garlic here. Do you have to use a glove? Of course not. And I normally don't use a glove. But if you do use a glove, make sure that that glove does not have powder on it. If you buy medical gloves, a lot of times they will have powder on it. These are nitrile medical gloves that don't have any powder. Okay. So we're just going to mix everything together. A hand is the best tool. Could you use a spoon? Of course. You don't want to overmix. So you just want to smush this around until you get everything combined together and not go crazy over mixing it. Okay. And a lot of times I get comments saying like, but why? They say it makes it tough. You know, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I've overmixed it. I don't know, but that's what they say. They say that it makes your meat tough if you overmix it. So we're not going to overmix it. We're going to use the best tool we have, which is our hands, which will help us combine the ingredients quickly, but still thoroughly. Yeah. And I'm not mashing it aggressively. It might be hard to tell on the camera, but I'm really just sort of folding it. Fold the cheese, right? Just fold it in. Just folding it like which means I'm really just like taking it from underneath and folding it over itself. And utterly obsessed with these loaf pans, like so much. So I didn't tag it here in the video, which sometimes I forget. It's always in my showcase. It has a lid. So you cannot cook with this lid on because it's a plastic lid. But when you finish eating your meal, you can just throw the lid on and pop it in the fridge. Love. Super inexpensive. It comes in a set of 3. Anyways, if I didn't tag it, I'm going to try to remember. But if I didn't tag it, it's always in my showcase. So I always try to put things that I use a lot, that I really love, that are available. I try to put them in my showcase so you can grab them if you want to, because I hate when you get like the knockoff version. That happened to me with the Unbrush. Remember when everyone was about the Unbrush? I bought that stupid thing and it was not the real Unbrush and it sucked. And I was so disappointed. But you know, we live, we learn, right? It's got to be like the exact one. It can't just be like what you find in the shop. Anywho, be gentle with it. Don't smash it too aggressively. The only thing I do is I go down the sides with my fingers like this to create like a mound, so that, I guess, I don't know, like the grease drains down there, or just so it has its lovely shape. I don't know. It's just the way I always do it. It's not perfect. Look, it's like higher here, lower there. That's okay. You're going to preheat your oven to 370 or 350. 350, 375, whatever. Either of those is fine. 350 or 375, your choice. Pick. Normally I drizzle this with a ketchup topper, but today I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna do that about 30 minutes into like a 45-minute to an hour cook time, and I'm gonna let it get all brown and amazing, and then I'm going to put a ketchup brown sugar mix on top to make our meatloaf topping while we're waiting. So I put a 1/4 cup of brown sugar in this bowl, and I'm gonna put like about double that, so maybe about a 1/2 cup of ketchup. But you know, I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing. So I want it to be like a beautiful glaze consistency, so I think that's perfect. It's a perfect ratio, ketchup to brown sugar. So we're gonna leave this to the side. We're gonna wait for that last like 15-20 minutes of cooking, and we're gonna throw it on there. Stunning meatloaf, already smells so good. She's been in the oven about 35 minutes, and now I'm gonna put the glaze on top for the last, like I said, 15-20 minutes. And just look at how glorious and amazing this looks. Oh, you don't have to do this. Obviously, if you don't like ketchup, don't do this. You could do a brown sugar mustard. I have done that before, if you would prefer, but I'm gonna put a really nice thick layer of delicious glaze on top. And I just know that it's gonna be so good. Like, can you see this? Can you see this magic? You see where I missed a spot on camera. All right, back in for 15 minutes. It's molten, so we can't try it yet. You gotta let it sit for a couple minutes and like come together, okay? We have to do the taste test. It's still smoldering hot, but I couldn't wait. The pork definitely made more grease. Like there's a pool of grease back there in the main dish. So it's definitely more greasy with the pork, but like, oh, I mean, it looks amazing. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's good. I might have overdone it a little with the ketchup. A little too much, but oh my God. So flavorful. So juicy. I can't really taste the onions. It just tastes better. Does that make sense? It just enhanced everything about this. Like maybe you need 2 packets to taste it, but 10 out of 10, 20 out of